Hey guys, Gilberto here, and today I want to show you the type of different campaign that are working right now in the media buying community after Andromeda. So just like you guys, I also spend a lot of time on YouTube. I literally spend hours and hours every single day. And I've seen that post Andromeda, we have a lot of different style of campaigns. And the thing is that probably every single one of these campaigns is working. It kind of depends on the ad account, on your style, on the client and stuff like that. But because I saw that online there is so many information nowadays about Andromeda and so many different styles of campaign, I've decided to make one YouTube videos where I go through the 3 best campaign structure that are working around in the market. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to give you also credit to the right person because I didn't come up with those campaigns. And then you guys can decide which campaign to use based on, again, your clients, your situation, or also your style, right? And as always, guys, if you want to become a media buyer, if you want to become a freelance media buyer like myself, link down below, you can book a call. Now, let's take a look at the different campaigns. And by the way, sorry for the background. It's probably a bit different than usual, but I'm moving to Thailand literally in 24 hours. So you guys get what you get, right? Just wanted to record a quick video before I'm flying. But yeah, 3 different type of campaign that we have right now, okay? We have the CBO broad campaign. And this is one campaign, CBO, one broad master ad set, and then we have all the ads inside. This is the most simple campaign ever, and that's why it's called CBO Pro campaign, right? Because that's an extremely easy campaign. There is no media buying here involved. All that matters is ads, creative, right? So the quality of the creative, the angle, and stuff like that. And if you think that this setup is stupid, well, you should think twice because this is actually working quite well. Simplicity oftentimes works better than overcomplication. And by having such a simple media buying structure like this one CBO campaign, one broad master asset, and then all the ads inside, you really focus on what matters, which is the ad itself, right? So you minimize the amount of time that you spend in the ad account, and you maximize the amount of time that you spend creative, crafting those creatives, which is the video and the statics, right? And to be honest with you, this is a very, very solid setup, right? It might sound extremely simple, but post Andromeda, this actually works quite well. And especially if you're spending like maybe $100 to $500, I think this setup is what you should focus on, to be honest with you, because again, it's minimizing essentially the time that it takes to do media buying, and you can spend way more time essentially with the creatives, which is what matters, right? So again, if you're spending anywhere between $100 to $500 per day, in my opinion, this campaign structure is just fine for you. Just fine. I mean, you can also potentially push it to like $1,000 per day. I could see that working, but in my opinion, for that budget, there are some better campaign structure, which you're gonna see in a second. But for a simple campaign that again is spending less than $500 per day, I can see how this is working, to be honest with you. Like, just have one asset with like 20 creative insights, and every time you have some new creatives just pushing inside there, this could actually work. For how stupidly simple it sounds, this CBO broad could actually work, right? So definitely give it a try. Now let's move into what I call the tactical CBO, sorry. And this strategy right here was created by Charlie T. Charlie T, guys, if you don't know, is one of the most experienced Facebook ads guy in the space. He spent billions of dollars, so he definitely knows what he's talking about. And pretty much his philosophy is the one campaign structure, which is kind of like this, one campaign. But it's just adding a little bit more ad set, whereas he has a winning asset. That's usually where Facebook automatically spending most of your cash. And then he just have 2 or 3 testing assets where he's testing new creatives, new concept and stuff like that. And then whatever essentially one of these creatives is winning, he translate into the winner one. And the way he's analyzing this campaign is by looking at frequency, for example, which is a very important metric because then you can analyze whether or not one campaign is acting more as a top of the funnel or as a middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel, right, based on the frequency, and not necessarily the ROAS. Because again, ROAS, yeah, it's a great metric, but what if one of your ads has a frequency of 4 in the last 7 days is a ROAS of 3? Well, that's not scalable because that's a bottom of the funnel ad, right? Whereas maybe you have one ad that has a ROAS of 1.8, but in the last 7 days has a frequency of 1.3 and is getting most of the spend. Well, probably because that ad right there is top of the funnel. And so your goal should be to find one top of the funnel ad that is beating the current one, right? And so that's kind of his structure. Again, you can go in his YouTube. He has a ton of videos. He's a great guy. It's exactly what he's doing, and probably he can explain even more than me, but I just want to show you essentially what kind of his philosophy is around that, right? So one campaign, essentially one winner asset with all the best ads, which can be 2 or 3, and then a bunch of ad sets which are testing. And then we go to some Piliero, I always say correctly, strategy, which is similar to Charlie in some ways, but a bit different in other ways, right? So we're still using a CBO campaign here in this structure, but as you can see, it's a bit different because yes, we still have the same structure right here, which is testing campaign, right? Winner, testing ad 1, which essentially is a bunch of ads. It can be like a concept, an avatar, an angle, stuff like that. Testing 2, same thing, a concept, an avatar, an angle. And then we have all the ads inside, right? And then essentially whoever is winning is going to be moved into the winner. But you can also notice that we have exclusions, right? Exclusions. Well, the reason why is because Sam essentially is using this as a testing, prospecting only campaign, excluding retargeting. So the exclusion is exclusion to middle of the funnel. So he's excluding Facebook, Instagram engagers, website engagers, and stuff like that, right? And he also has a separate scaling campaign, right, with exclusion as well. So not only he has a winner asset inside here, but he also has a separate campaign with the same winner asset, so it's the same, literally the same, but this is just a scaling CBO campaign with 3 ads right here. And then he also has a retargeting campaign where essentially he's retargeting the exclusion that we have here, right? Facebook 30 days, add to cart, essentially stuff like that, right? And we have a bunch of ads inside here, which are more tailored towards the bottom of the funnel. So we have me versus you, we have some, for example, discounts, some scarcity, urgency. We can have some social proof ad, testimonials, videos, and also some evergreen. Evergreen can be, for example, some of the winner we get here, we can also push them here, right? And then lastly, he also has one campaign for retention. Retention essentially means he's targeting buyers. So people that are already your customers or already your leads or whatever. And then he's just retarget them with some specific ads which are speaking specifically to them. And this can be done with cross-selling DPA ads, or this can be done with special offers just for customers and stuff like that, right? But essentially, in a nutshell, he has 4 campaigns. He has a main testing campaign, he has a scaling campaign, he has a retargeting campaign, and he has a retention campaign, right? So these kind of resemble a lot what we used to have back in the days with top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and buyers, which is retention, right? Is bringing back that structure. And if I have to give my inputs, I tried both, but this strategy right here for me hasn't really worked that well. I tried to have a separate scaling campaign CBO and a testing campaign, and my scaling was just not picking up for whatever reason. Then I tried to do a testing CBO campaign and a retargeting campaign, and again, it didn't really pick up. What it did went well though was having one prospecting campaign and one retention campaign where I was excluding essentially my buyer from here. That worked quite well for me. But having a testing CBO and then a retargeting where I'm doing exclusion, for me specifically, it didn't work that well. I'm not saying it does not work, because for him it clearly does. He has a lot of accounts which are using this structure, and for him it's working very, very well. So my suggestion for you is to just try it out, see if it works, right? But what I really like to say, in my opinion, is the Charlie strategy, right? With a few changes. For example, I would probably exclude here and here and here buyers, right? I will not necessarily exclude the middle of the funnel like Sam is doing, but I will exclude buyers from here and just have a retention campaign essentially going on when I'm retargeting my buyers. And I know that Facebook nowadays is still essentially retarget buyers, even though you exclude them based on the type of ad that you have. But still, I will try to essentially create separation between my prospecting, which also includes my engaged audience, and my retargeting. And if I want to do more top of the funnel, really all I will focus on will be making more unaware, essentially, type of ads, right? Or problem-aware type of ads, which is the lower stage of the funnel, and not necessarily segmenting my campaign that way, right? So my personal preference goes more towards essentially Charlie with some changes. Again, every style works, guys. Like, I'm not here to tell you which one works the best. I'm telling you what works the best for me. And maybe for you, it can be this one right here. Maybe for you, it can be the one of Sam. All of these are working. All these guys are spending millions and millions of dollars. They know exactly what they're doing, right? So my suggestion for you is just test it out. You know, you have like 4 accounts. Okay, I have one account where you're testing this, one account where you're testing this, one account where you're testing this. See what works, experiment, right? And then stick with whatever works. And perhaps it's something that is like an hybrid, just like in my case, right? I like the Charlie T approach, but also the Sam a little bit, right? So it's a hybrid of both, right? And that's what media buying is in a day. It's a lot of testing. And then we have the superior ABO. And this is probably the most complicated campaign out of them all. And this is definitely a campaign that I will not use if you guys are not spending at least $1,000 per day or more, because there is a lot of media buying involved, which can take away your time from the creative, which is the most important aspect, right? And so this campaign right here is used by Jeremy Haynes and Manuel Gomez. Now, they are using in slightly different ways, but the concept is the same. Jeremy is doing more coaching, consulting, BSL, book a call funnels, and Manuel Gomez is doing strictly e-commerce, right? So they adapted in two different styles. You can go in their YouTube channel. They have videos where they explain to you in depth how it works. But the concept essentially is to bring back an ABO in a specific way and then having potentially a CBO to scale up, right? So in this case, for example, what Manuel is doing, let's start with him, is having an ABO and every ad set is one avatar on one concept, right? And then in there is also all the ads for that avatar or that concept, right? And then he's just seeing what avatar is working the best, because in his mind, essentially, he wants to target all the potential available market, right? So if we have different avatars, we obviously are identifying different segments of the market in our audience, right? Which makes sense. And if you want to maximize your reach and your customer acquisition, then obviously you have to go towards all these avatars, right? And every avatar has a different unique selling point, different problems, different desire. They can be the same, but more often than not, they are different, right? And they also have different stage of awareness of the market, right? And so the concept that Gomez essentially brings is like, hey, I can have an ABO, and then every ABO is going to have one avatar, one concept, and then I'm just testing the creatives there, right? Because then I'm doing a testing based on the avatar and seeing what concept avatar is working, not what creative in general, because the problem that can happen with this CBO is that Facebook just spent towards one ad, one avatar, and that's it. Well, you cannot probably that scale that much if it only spending towards one avatar, because one avatar, as we just saw right here, has a limited market, right? Whereas by doing this, you're targeting all the potential buyers. And again, that does not mean that they're going to have necessarily the same outcome. Maybe avatar 1, okay, is 3x ROAS, and avatar 2 is 2x ROAS. Like, I'm sorry for my draw, is like shit, I know, but I'm drawing without like trackpad essentially. And concept 1, whatever, is like a 4x, right? Okay, cool. And then you see that the average of the account is like, I don't know, 2.5, right? Because maybe this one is spending more, this one is spending a little bit less because the market's a bit smaller, and this one is spending even less, right? So the overall campaign ROAS is like 2.5, right? And again, that's not bad, because this way, that's how you can scale a lot. And I understand why they're doing it, right? Again, that's how you can essentially tap into all your market, and not all your market is going to have the same outcome, right? Don't expect that you're going to find one avatar that is going to have a 3x ROAS and then all the other avatars are supposed to have 3x ROAS. No, that's not the case. But because you're targeting all the avatars now, your mass audience, your market just becomes like a mass audience. You can target literally everyone, right? And again, what it does then, specifically Gomez in this case, it takes the best performing ads in the avatar and then it just moves into a CBO. And the CBO is going to be with one asset, and that's going to be for that specific avatar. So every CBO potentially is going to have its own avatar. So let's say you find 3 avatars that are winning, then you're going to have 3 CBO. And you're going to scale each CBO individually, because maybe one CBO can scale to $1,000 per day, whereas another CBO can only scale to $300 per day. And another one maybe can scale to $3,000 a day, right? Because different CBO have different avatar are scalable in different ways, right? For multiple reasons. And that's a very, very interesting topic, right? And the concept itself. And I see how for like big e-commerce brands, maybe making like 500K per month or more, these can really, really work, right? Like these can really, really work if you're spending 100K per month, 200K per month, and you have multiple avatars and you want to maximize growth. This is an insane strategy to use. It's very time consuming when it comes to like the media buying input, compared to those two. But if your goal is to scale to like 500 million per month, I can see how this strategy really can bring a lot to the table compared maybe to those other, which again are less time consuming from a media buying perspective, but they might have some limitation, right? At least that's my idea. Might be wrong. But then let's also see how Jeremy is using this, because also Jeremy is using this. And again, this guy is more doing calls and leads, funnels, right? Not necessarily e-commerce, but he's still using this ABO strategy, but it's slightly different. So what Jeremy is using essentially is one ABO campaign, and then instead of having avatars, it just has interest. So let's say we have 3 assets, 1, 2, 3. It's gonna have 3 interests. One is broad, one is, for example, lookalike, and one is interest from Facebook, right? For example, this can be broad, this can be lookalike 1% of my customers, and this one can be Shopify as an interest, right? And then inside the asset, he has 10, 20, 30 ads that he's testing at once. And obviously he knows that 1 or 2 of those ads are going to be the one that take the spend. So what he does is, as soon as he identifies the 2 ads, which are getting the all spend, he duplicate these ad sets right here, and then he remove essentially those 2 ads, because those 2 ads, they're going to stay in the asset that is still running. And then he's going to test essentially, he's going to make a copy, and he's going to test all the remaining 28 ads essentially that are in here, right? So there is 20 more here that before didn't get spent because those 2 get it. Well, now let's remove those 2 and let's add those 28 in here once more. So we're forcing spend essentially towards the other ones, right? And that's how he does it. So it's a very interesting strategy too. And these guys are the strategies that as of now are working the best in the media buying space, right? I'm not saying any one of these one is better than the others. Everyone can work. In my opinion, still nothing of these really matter if your creatives are shit, right? Like you should still focus on the creative. 80% of your focus should go there, right? These structures right here, they can definitely be helpful. They can definitely squeeze that extra cash. But if you don't understand market awareness, marketing sophistication, concept, creative diversity, this is not going to save you, right? Now, that being said, you can test all of this. What I will do if I were you guys, I will really pick 4 or 3 accounts, and I will test for each account a different strategy. It's like, okay, let me try this one with 1 account, let me try this one with 1 account, let me try this one with 1 account, and let me try this one with 1 account, right? 4 accounts, 4 campaign structure. Then you can see which one is working the best. Let's say, for example, the Charlie T for you is working the best, or the Sam Piliero. Then you can start replicating that across your other accounts and see if it works. And it doesn't work. And if it doesn't, then it's fine. You still have other strategy that you can use essentially and see if that works better to your account. But these guys are the most common strategy that people are using after Andromeda. I saw that there was like a lot of information out there. So I just want to make a video essentially going through what the market is saying right now, what the community is saying. And if you think that I miss anything, if you think there is any other crazy strategy that I don't know about, feel free to DM me in the comments, and I might make another video. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Obviously, if you want to become a media buyer, if you want to learn this and do it as your job, link down below. You can schedule a call. I can teach you how to become a freelancer media buyer and making 5 to 10K per month like I do it myself. This being said, catch up in the next video. See ya.